I'm
How
okay.
are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
You know, living day to day, literally. Absolutely, literally. It just is so astonishing, absolutely astonishing how our people and our country just don't want to hear. They don't they don't want to hear what's really happening, what's really going on in here, what's happening to the moms and the sisters and the mothers, grandmothers at the hands of people just because these people have titles.
So what's going on? What are they doing in there?
It's just, it's monstrous, to have people that are so malevolent to your needs and to call you swine, to say that you're not worthy of fresh food or food that doesn't have worms in it. You're not worthy of being spoken to decently. You deserve being called things, that are so disgraceful, like being called a cum bucket, you know, because you're a prisoner.
Oh, so they called you guys cum buckets just because you're incarcerated?
Just because they're able to. Just because it's justified. It's justified because we're in here and because no one out there that has the power is listening. We are less than a grain of salt to the people that we need to be heard by because we are not believed. We are not we're not valued anymore. There's no worth in you when you become a prisoner. And that is beat into you when you're in here even more. You're told that you're not worth it. You're told that you're not going to be heard. You go to the simplest place. You go to medical because you're sick. They falsify your medical records. They say that you have diseases that you don't have, and if you ask for help, you're told to drink more water, that you're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. But then you ask for a copy of your medical records like I did, and you find out that you've been diagnosed with stage 2 Parkinson's. And when you confront them, they put you in full remission. These are federal crimes.
So are they even giving you any kind of they say they diagnose you with it, but are they trying to even give you any kind of treatment on it, or why do they put that on your medical records?
It has to be. It has to be financial gain. It can't be any other reason. There is no other reason for lying the way that they're lying. There has to be financial reason. You're saying that, people are picking up medications that they're not picking up, that we're on medications that we're not on, that you're providing medical treatment that you're not providing.
So so they're
I've
putting
seen
in the medical records that they're providing all this medical care so that they can get more government federal funding, but they're not actually providing any of these medical care treatments whatsoever, and they're just falsely putting this stuff in the records so that they can get more money for inmates.
they're absolutely falsifying them. I've witnessed women, there are families out there right now that my heart breaks. I wish that there was some way that they could hear my voice, that their daughters, their mothers died in here, and they died agonizing deaths because they weren't believed, because they weren't worthy to be believed. And I have begged, my mother has begged for people to get help. Do you have any idea what it's like to spoon feed a woman water for weeks and her be told by medical There's nothing wrong with you. Shut up. Quit your crying. Go take some ibuprofen. We don't want to hear from you. And then for it to get so bad that that lady cannot even rise up out of the bed, that she is urinating on herself, and officers won't help. They're disgusted and they make fun of her. And we beg and we fight and we raise up so much noise that finally medical is forced to come. And when they come, they laugh openly and tell the guard, oh, we have it in her medical file that she's a faker. Don't call us back for this bitch again. She died a few weeks later. That's a hell of a faking job. You know, women are losing their limbs. Limbs are being cut off because of simple infections, because they don't want to give the right treatment. They're limping, hurting, because they can't be seen. I went out to medical here and at sick call, as we're told to do, and because my chest hurt, you know, I have AFib, and I couldn't hardly focus. The pain was coming in so fast, and I knew I was out of rhythm, and they literally stood in the doorway of medical and laughed at me and 3 other women and told us to take our asses back to our unit. And when I refused and I went to the lieutenant's office, the pain actually took me to the wet doormat. And I laid like a dog on the wet doormat and was brutally spoken to and walked around by officers. And finally, when one medical individual came to get me, it gets you to the point mentally that you don't want their help anymore, because their help means death. And when I asked, am I going to be taken to the hospital? I need to be scoped. I'm a gastric bypass patient with AFib. There is something wrong. I have not used the restroom in 21 days. Please, y'all keep turning me away. I need to go to the hospital. To have the person over medical stand there and look me in my face with tears rolling down my face and tell me, even if we do take you to the hospital, I will see to it that no scope is done. That tells me everything that I need to know. They control what even the outside medical providers do for us. They are our life and our death. And that is unchecked power. And nobody's listening because we can't get heard. And if we do manage to write someone, I have reached out to the president, I have reached out to the new director of the BOP and the new assistant director of the BOP, and to Pam Bondi. We need them to hear us. We need them to hear our voices. We need them to care more than a grain of salt. You know, I had to pull my own teeth because my teeth are loose because I'm losing bone because of my gastric bypass. No one should have to do that. You shouldn't have to do what we have to do in here. You shouldn't be spoken to the way you're spoken in here. The amount of women that I have known to be sexually abused in here, I can't name another person that I know on the outside that's witnessed so many rapes. And nobody on the outside, if they went to the police and asked for help, would be told to go back and live with that same abuser. But that's exactly what they're doing in here.
Isn't there a current lawsuit right now against guards that are there for the rapes and death threats that they did towards inmates?
Oh, there is. Yes. And I know for a fact that there is, because I try to hold on. I try to hold on, and I try only through God. 150,000%. I hold on to my faith that God knows that we are worth more than a grain of salt. And I write for these women in here, and I try to get them heard in the courts. And there is a woman that was here whose sister was being threatened to be raped, and she stood up for her sister, and they ended up in the SHU, because that is the answer. That's the answer whenever you ask for help, or you speak, and you speak the truth, and it is not what they want you to speak.
Those guards, are they still there, the ones that did that to them?
Of course they are. Of course they are, because there's one massive difference between a government employee and someone that's wearing the colors that I'm wearing. If you're a government employee, you must be honest. What a misconception that our world has. You've placed people in positions to abuse people, and those people have prevented the people that they're abusing from ever being heard. It is the perfect system for a sociopath to work in. It cannot get any better. It's designed for it, and they revel in it. You go and you say, okay, the system says that if I do an administrative remedy, that it's going to get to the right person, and the person that is in power is going to listen to me. They're going to help me. Well, not if the person that you give the administrative remedy to laughs at you and puts it in a shredder right in front of you. Then the person you're trying to get to will never see it. And some of them are bold enough to even say, you'll never get hurt. You're never going to get this out of here. It'll never leave this compound. Do you know that it's my friend that works with them? Do you know that this is just going to come right back to me? And then when it does come right back to them, they call you into their office and show it to you. And so you're reminded again that you're swine.
So the BOP system that they say is to help them solve internal revenue issues of complaints within the system is completely fake and false, because they mask it, they cover it up, and they shred them right in front of you and then mock you and retaliate against you for it. Is that what you're saying?
100%. You will lose everything that you have. Everything. You will lose your property, your very food that you have. You'll lose it. You will lose your limited freedom that you have in the prison itself, because you're going to the SHU, and you're going to lose contact with the outside. You're going to lose any minimal contact. You're going to lose your absolute voice. And when they're done with you in the SHU, and you've lost massive weight, and you come out of the SHU, most come out broken. There are women that I know right now, they can't even speak, because they are so afraid that if they speak, they're going back to the hole. They're going back in there. And the people that oversee the hole, they rule everything. Women have been reported for suicides The BOP's got a lot of problem with suicides. You know what the biggest problem with the BOP suicides are? Most aren't suicides.
What do you mean? Like
most are helped. Most are constructed because they found a voice. They found somebody that would listen on the outside. Or they came against the right monster.
So there was a girl I talked to, and she said that some of the suicides, the hangings in the shoe, she had witnessed it. The guards had actually done that and turned off the video footage, hung the girl, and made her look like a suicide. Have you heard or seen things like that as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The statistics that Congress, oh dear sweet Congress, if I could have 1 hour of Congress's ears, if they were willing to hear the truth, what a challenge that I would offer them. They have no idea. The people who are so well pressed in wonderful suits and expensive jewels that sit in front of them, that they question, that lead this ship, are the very people that are lying to them and misrepresenting actual reality. But because I'm a convicted felon, I have to be the liar. And if they just did enough research about who is trying to speak to them, they would find that it was actually a government employee that did this. But they have to start to listen, because eventually one of our voices is going to make it out of here. One of our voices is not going to be silenced whenever we get free. One of us is not going to stop until you stop hurting us. It would be quicker and more humane for them just to put a bullet in our heads than to mentally break us, to keep us from food and mental health therapy and medical help, to call us names, to kill us, to rape us, beat us, keep us from our families. That abuse is worse. I would rather somebody pull the trigger. They gave me 34 years for owning a medical business because the DEA placed a nurse practitioner in my mother and I's clinic to work for them as a prescribing nurse practitioner. He was not charged. I was charged with conspiracy. My mother was charged with conspiracy, when even that man himself told the grand jury that he never saw us do or say anything illegal. But that DEA agent that wanted that money from us weekly, he needed us to go away. So 44 years, my life, my children's lives, because they put a man in there that worked for them, who wrote prescriptions to their own undercover DEA agent.
So that whole thing was a setup and a trap to start with, and they framed you.
Undercover wrote prescriptions to undercover. And then there's text messages from the undercover agent, the lead agent, to his plant that the grand jury saw when I closed my clinic voluntarily because of the extortion bribes that I wouldn't pay. And the DEA agent told him, she has to reopen. Go make it happen. Everything is about money, and if you don't have the money and you don't have the power, nobody wants to listen. You know, and there's a woman out there right now that President Trump appointed, Miss Bondi. She knows that things are not the way that they seem. She knows that things are being misled and misrepresented. But when is she going to get brave enough to come after the actual government? When is she going to use her power to listen and actually say, I'm not going to let this happen anymore? 5 minutes. 5 minutes with the president's ear, even though I'm just less than a grain of salt. 5 minutes. And who would know more about what is going on than what his so-called experts could ever tell him? Because they're all being lied to. We're dying. And some of us are not dying slowly. Some of them they're killing quickly. My poor mother, they gave a 280-year sentence to for a crime that had no victims. She did not write a single prescription herself. And were first-time offenders. 280 years.
How old is your mother?
73. Sitting in Carswell with a pacemaker that they keep telling her that they've recharged. And you can't recharge that pacemaker. That model and brand can't be recharged. They're going to let my mother time out and die. So they got rid of me and separated us because I was helping too many women get hurt in the courts.
So because you guys were standing up for your rights and standing up for what was right, they're retaliating against you and trying to kill your mom now, and they separated you guys.
Well, they'll just say her heart failed.
Yeah, but it looks like a cover-up, though. If they make it so, and her medical records say that they recharge it, but there's no actual recharging for that battery, it's just going to look like she died by accident, when really that was them killing her.
Her medical record is full. She's got copies. It's full, packed full of test results, actual test results that required her to sleep over for them to even get. She never even left the prison. But they have her name on them.
So they completely falsified her medical records.
Completely. 100%. They've given her 9 lung blockages, including a chart that lays them out where they are in her lungs. She has perfect lungs. An ER doctor told her not to take the oxygen anymore that they were making her use.
That was Faith Blake, and I have her reg number is 73053279. If you're watching this, these are real videos. These are videos from women who are actually there right now in FCI Aliceville, who are, you heard it yourself, are being treated like garbage, and they are human beings. They are mothers, they are daughters, they are sisters, they are aunts, and this needs to change. Your guards, your government officials are using their power to abuse the women that are in there to kill them. They need your help. They need an outcry. They need the people of this country to stand up and say enough's enough. And let their voices be heard. President Trump, you said you would change things. Well, they need your help and they're crying out for you. Today is January 16th, 2026.